Hello there, my lovely lovelies, and welcome to haQ. This is going to be a short and pretty relaxed video because we're checking out Wind Chimes, which has to be the chillest generative MIDI sequencer for iOS so far. It's a physics-based generative sequencer that uses wind mechanics to trigger notes. The app can run as a standalone thing where it has a built-in sound engine, or it can be loaded as a MIDI plugin in an AUv3 host. In either case, it can be used to sequence any piece of hardware and/or software that can receive MIDI note data. And there's even a little bird in here that hides some MIDI CC options. Now, even though there is complexity here, Wind Chimes is an incredibly straightforward app and there really isn't much you need to know in order to get going with it. So just lay back and hang out with me for a few minutes and I'll tell you all about it. Restful winds, simple flow. Quiet ideas form and grow. Peaceful swings, day and night. Tranquil clouds, stills the light. We're going to focus on the actual scene here to the left. Now you see, Cem did something really interesting with how the app window size affects the scene and bells. So check this out. Resizing the app actually changes how the scene behaves. For instance, scaling it this way gives us thinner and longer chimes. And if we do it the other way, we're getting shorter and wider chimes. Now it works exactly the same way in both the standalone and AUv3 version. And I think it's pretty dope. Alright, so let's just have a look at the actual bells. Now these can be interacted with and there are specific gestures for that. Quickly tapping a bell flicks it. You can also tap and hold a bell, and as you're doing that, the wind has no effect on that bell. Now, while you're holding a bell, you can either push it into another one or drag the bell horizontally and then release it to make it swing. Or you can release it as you're moving it to kind of throw it into another bell. Alright, so here's something really nice. If we tap on the top of a bell string, we can see a bird landing there. Now, I don't know what species of bird it is, but it doesn't really matter because this action opens up new editing tools for that particular bell where we can adjust length and weight. And once we're done, we can tap the unknown species of bird and watch it fly away to somewhere nice and safe. And you can do this for all bells, meaning you can create some pretty interesting bell combinations of length and weight. Now, while the editing bird is perched here, you also have some controls for MIDI. So you can change out the MIDI channel, and if we turn on CC up here, then we can also decide the CC number over here, and we have two knobs for controlling the minimum and maximum value output. And you can of course do this for every bell. Little bird with a clever wing. Edits bells to make them sing. With passion, care, and cheer, the chimes become crystal clear. So next we're going to have a look at our actual scene controls, where these 5 are actually wind controls. The strength knob sets the amount of wind, while the direction knob, which is a bipolar control, lets you set the wind direction. Now the turbulence knob lets you set the amount of irregular wind motion, which helps chimes to separate and collide. The frequency or gust frequency knob lets you set how often wind gusts happen, while the gust knob sets the wind gust size. And higher values here produces bigger gusts, while lower values produces smaller gusts. The last knob, the inertia knob, is a bell-specific control, and setting it to higher values produces smoother and more dampened movements. Wind moves softly through the night, bends the shadows out of sight, whispers where the old stars go, disappears in drifting snow. And then you smell it. I'm sorry. Now moving on to the lower left corner, we can find a toolbar with 3 icons in it. First up, we have the expand arrow that allows us to bring the chime scene into full view with all of the controls hidden away. Now to exit this mode, there is a button down here in the lower left corner, but it's so hard to see, and I would urge Cem to actually make this more visible. Next, we have the wind icon, which provides us with a new generated sequence that doesn't change the current setup. And lastly, we've got the dice icon, which lets us randomize everything, including chime layout, harmonic pattern, and the wind parameters. Now we're going to stick to the bottom, but we're going to slide on over to the right here, where we have another 5 items. And the first one actually sets the amount of bells from 2 to up to 16 of them. In any case, no matter how many bells you're using, it is nice to be able to control the spacing of bells, and that's something you can do right here. Increasing this adds more distance between bells, while decreasing it reduces distance between bells. After that, we got some composition settings like being able to set the root key and also a scale browser hidden in the note icon. And in the current version that I'm using, there's about almost 20 different scales in here. Now, one thing to highlight is that it's also possible to set the bell amount and spread, including the key, without having to open their menus by just dragging them vertically. Next, we find the folder icon, which is where we find the preset browser. In here, we can save and load our own projects, and of course, the app comes with factory presets. Now, lastly, we have the gear icon, which lets us enter the settings page. And this one will actually have more options when running Wind Chimes as a standalone app, where we have settings for MIDI and the internal sound engine. However, there's 2 settings that both versions of the app have in common. First up, the theme selector with a bunch of differently colored themes in it. There are 18 in total, so there is something for everybody to chill with. Now, lastly, if you don't like the free-running, non-synced note triggering mode, then you can switch the timing mode over to synced, which will open up grid subdivisions for you. But quite honestly, in my opinion, this is the wrong way to use Wind Chimes. You should really just chill out with the completely random generator mode. Now, I'm a little light on final thoughts, to be honest, because there's not much you need to think about when using an app like Wind Chimes. There is complexity, yes, but it is made for touch and it has a minimal control scheme, which makes working with it a breeze, no pun intended. I really don't have any critique either, except from maybe the built-in sounds being a little bit too much on the general MIDI side. Now, there was also a moment where I realized that the list of instruments didn't actually contain a Wind Chimes instrument.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Cem, you need to do something about that. In any case, the general MIDI sounding instruments is why I use my own favorite plugins and synths to generate the sounds for my demos. Now, one thing I haven't highlighted is that there are no transport controls in here. It pretty much runs as soon as you start it up, and there is no stopping it. Now, sure, there is a sync function in there, but it almost feels wrong turning it on in an app like this because it was designed to be a more natural random note generator, and the sync, well, it kind of ruins that. So, yeah, I'm not complaining, I'm just pointing it out. Now, I think Wind Chimes is a neat little app. The animated UI looks really nice and has a calming effect on my mind. I've been hooking it up to synthesizers in where I do sound design for hours upon hours on end, and it's a very nice experience, and I've enjoyed losing myself in these meditative sessions. Now, I don't have much more to say, but I do have a perfect poem for moments exactly like that. Searched for words, but found none to give. Silence sitting where thoughts used to live. Perhaps nothing is something quietly true. So I'll say nothing and let it speak to you. Now, I'll put an app link in the pinned comment below this video, and also you can join up on our Discord. And if you're interested in supporting me and my work, you can always sign up on Patreon, or you could just go over to my Gumroad page and maybe there is a preset pack for a synthesizer that you have that you want to buy, and you can do that. There are also some free ones over there. I put out some recently, and there are more coming. So yeah. As usual, I wish you a very productive week. Now go finger all of your stuff and have a lot of fun doing it.